So in 2011, I was just turning 30. I started living with an invisible injury. It was a brain injury caused by a repetitive head impacts since I was a young kid through accidents and sports that I sustained over a lifetime. So as rough as guts, I was just, into anything and everything and just playing any sport I could, from, netball, basketball, league, softball, korfball, teaching myself how to ski in the French Alps, working up Mount Hutt and skiing and snowboarding, just anything I could touch, rugby. So 8 days after the last game of the rugby season in 2011, that's when the brain injury kicked in and she just knocked the fuck out of me, basically. So 14 years of living with a brain injury due to repetitive head impacts. The only help I've got during that time was a few weeks from ACC, where they then screwed me over and they dropped me. I hit my head so hard again that I actually had to teach myself how to speak again. My speech was just stuffed, and so I had no one, I had no support, I had nothing. I would go and sit at a bar down at the Chartered Club and just talk to whoever came. Like, I was so bad I couldn't even order a coffee. That's how bad I was. So in 2016, instead of actually getting me help and support, a family member who knew too well that I had a brain injury, because she had bought me a book on brain injury, I had read it, I had underlined all the things in the book and sent it back to her so she could read to understand. She turned around and said that I was psychotic, dangerous, and I'd never had a brain injury in my life. Got me ripped from my home by police, got chucked in mental health, got forcefully drugged, and my life was no longer my own. So for 10 years, I have had to put up with the fact that everyone thinks that I'm just a fucking nutcase. It's not actually true, but there you go. Especially when you live in a small town, it is quite hard because you know what you're living with. You know what's going on. And 2 years ago now, I found people exactly like me living with traumatic brain injury, CTE, and they're just like me. They've been gone through everything that I go through. So on a daily, I don't know what my day's going to be like. I don't know if I'll be able to get out of bed to go to somewhere. Can't really plan or organise. If I don't sleep for days on end because my brain's so severely injured, I go into severe hallucinations that I can't get out of. So, if I sleep, if I stay away from people that won't trigger me, if I just, just do as much as I can. Like day to day, I might be able to just clean the house or just take Dave for a walk, or today I actually made it to a Christmas do for my brain injury group up at Punakaiki, where we had lunch, which was pretty good. People have no idea about brain injury until you live with one, so, you think it's a headache or memory loss, or you might think it's this or it's that, but, it's a whole multitude of things, and if you don't have any help or support at all, especially for 14 years, it's kind of a miracle I'm still here after being abused by a family member, after being forcefully drugged to the point where I wanted to take my own life every single day through what the drug's done to me. Like, I'm outgoing, I'm outspoken, I swear a lot, I know a lot of people, and when I was drugged, I was nothing. Concrete had more feelings. That's how bad I was. If I heard the gate, I would run into my room, I would close the curtains, and I would hide under the blankets. And that's not me. That's what the forced drugs injected into me were doing to me. paranoia, felt like everyone was watching me all the time. That's what the forced drugs, misdiagnosis, family member just giving false witness statements to get me controlled and locked up. That shit, it's not right. Nearly ended my life. So I'm outspoken because for so long I didn't have a fucking voice. I couldn't even think. I couldn't feel anything. I didn't love my mother. I didn't love my husband at the time. I didn't love my animals. And everyone who knows me knows that my animals are my life. My mother is my life, and that was taken from me. So could you imagine being an outgoing girl that travelled the world, that had taken on a military man that was trying to rape a girl in the Greek islands and making him run for her life because of who I was, and to be just encased to nothing because someone wanted to control my life? People have no idea what goes on in society against people that have injuries that are invisible. Like, I've had other friends that have just been told they're just insane and they've got diseases that are actually destroying their lives. Like, a brain disease is a brain disease. It's not a mental illness. But you encase someone with that label, you might as well put a bloody gun to their head and pull the trigger, because you're just giving them a death sentence if that's what you're going to do to them. If you want to just lock them up to silence and control them, when you know too well, and she knew that I had a brain injury, So, yeah. So I have always been outspoken. I've always sworn a lot. Having CTE up next level. Somewhere the other day, and I was trying to listen to something that was on a pre-recorded thing, and my friend next to me was in a rocking chair, and the thing I was listening to drowned out, and all I could hear was a spring in the rocking chair. So everything magnifies, and like a person without a brain injury wouldn't hear that spring. They wouldn't notice. They'd just keep. But that's like an example of what our brains do. Like just severe back pain because of the repetitive knocks. And then most people that live with CTE will also experience severe back trauma. So severe I can hardly even get out of bed some days, and some days I'll be fine, and then it'll go out again. And then so the repeated head knocks to the back, and then that fucks your bowels. So you lose full control of your bowels. Okay, so 43 years old, and, having to live like that because you have been put into she's psychotic and dangerous category, when actually it's a brain injury / brain disease injury. I still look the same, so you can't tell. But, yeah, if you're living with it, you know it. I've always known it. From 2011, I knew what was going on. I wouldn't have a connection to these men and these women that are living with CTE, or the family members of the victims that have already taken their lives of CTE. I wouldn't have that connection with them. So got support now, thank God, which was my lifeline from over in America and Australia and the UK, from other CTE sufferers and survivors, and the families that are fighting for the others after they've lost. So quick talk. Might do another video later, but yeah.